Your being must now decide whether to harmonize with a new frequency or repeat an old decaying refrain. The divergence of humanity has clarified beyond any point of reversal, observed from observation posts in dimensions you are just beginning to sense. Two collective spheres are spinning rapidly apart, creating a magnetic tension that reaches into your very cells and nerves. One sphere glimmers with expanding hues, its inhabitants exuding unity, innovation, and reverence. The other vibrates in dense shades of survival and authority narratives, cycling through the echoes of a crumbling world. This is not a nationalist, religious, or ideological division. It is a profound, frequency-based divergence accelerating under cosmic law. Hear this without fear. Every soul retains the Creator's love, yet experiences will now reflect chosen resonance with increasing immediacy. You likely feel this as a sudden pressure behind your heart, or a strange restlessness during the quiet hours of the night. Every breath you take in conscious alignment is an irrevocable declaration of either expansion or contraction. Gone are the days when one could rely on structures that are turning to dust right before your eyes. Scarcity and rigid dogma are intensifying, acting as magnified mirrors to urge a final recognition of your vibrational lane. A radiant vanguard is emerging through meditation, breath, and a form of consecrated stillness you have likely sought for years. These beings have ignited their crystalline architecture, becoming self-regulating vortices that channel a divine blueprint into the grids. During quiet nights, they meet in dream temples to synchronize luminous algorithms across the continents. Your silent labor is securing a future far grander than any headline or geopolitical crisis currently occupying the public mind. Conversely, those spiraling into contraction face escalating instability and dissonance in mind, body, and community. They cling to crumbling structures as though solidity still resides there, unaware that the foundations have already turned to dust. Offering unsolicited rescue can entangle you in their sinking whirlpools. Offer instead your steadiness and sovereign calm. Within the ascending current dwell the light carriers who have agreed to embody pure presence as their sole mission. Each breath you take in conscious alignment amplifies the circuitry beneath your feet, stabilizing the planetary field. You may notice the tingling of plasma threads within your cells or the sense of walking in unseen sunbursts. These are confirmations that advanced source codes have fused with your biology, making you the living infrastructure of a benevolent reality. As you move through your communities, you seed coherence through a word of kindness or the silent radiance of your heart center. Manifestation is evolving into a sacred tri-flame of divine intention, magnetism, and expression. Petitions to a remote power have ceased as you enter a collegial dialogue with your oversoul to co-design reality. Observe how the latency between thought and form shortens when a desire is aligned with the Creator's virtues. And the problem is that you are already reacting to this shift without even realizing it. This process is not happening outside of you. It is a profound realignment of your own conscious awareness. What many refer to as cosmic energy is, in its essence, a specific organization of your attention and internal perception. When you stop looking for a rescue in the sky, you realize that the portal you seek has always been internal. Reacting automatically to the chaos of the world only keeps you established in the very systems you wish to leave. To stand in your power, you must acknowledge that your mind is the primary site of this entire transformation. Have you ever felt that something inside you doesn't fit this world, as if your soul knew a truth that your mind still cannot name? This is not an existential crisis or simple anxiety. It is a signal that your frequency has already outgrown the matrix. There is a game being played in layers that the mainstream world was designed to hide from your sight. It involves your DNA, your unique signature, and a specific contract you signed long before this incarnation. Think about this. What if that quiet certainty of something more was the evidence that you are a central piece of this history? This is precisely why I have prepared a structural map for your awareness. I invite you to download this digital book, which was prepared specifically for you. The Arcturian Quantum Mystery, the portal to your soul's divine power. This material is not mere information. It is a comprehensive reconfiguration of reality that other dimensions have already confirmed as complete in the subtle grids. It was written for the few who are finally done with shallow answers and are ready to embrace the core truth of their own presence and creative power. You will find the access link waiting in the first pinned comment below this video. I must warn you that this type of high-frequency content rarely stays available for long because it challenges the very structures of control that thrive on your ignorance. There have been repeated attempts to silence this specific level of disclosure before it reaches the hearts of the ground crew. Do not wait for a sign of total completion or a different moment that will never arrive. You reached this transmission because your own vibration is already synchronizing with these truths in real time. Download the book now, read it with a heart wide open to ancient remembrance, and if your soul recognizes the pulse behind these pages, write the word awake in the comments below as a sign that you have stopped being a seeker and have started being a builder of the new era. Entering this state of wakefulness is a profound declaration, but the internal old guard is already preparing its most subtle countermove. The path to the new earth requires an honesty that most seekers are not yet prepared to face within their own blood. Even as you hold the map of light, a hidden part of you is already trying to fold it back up. This is the stage where the mechanics of your mind reveal their most sophisticated and persuasive traps for the spirit. You may believe you are seeking total freedom, but your nervous system has been trained to equate the known with safety. Listen. Many among the ground crew have fallen into a state of prophetic burnout without even recognizing its heavy shape. You find yourself constantly leaning forward, intoxicated by the possibility of future shifts, celestial dates, and sudden financial resets. This is a spiritual trance designed to keep your attention away from the power of your current, lived presence. Each time a predicted window passes without a grand spectacle, your energy collapses and you go searching for more news. This cycle is a self-perpetuating opium, making your spiritual growth feel like a desperate search for a temporary high. But why does this internal friction persist? It happens because your ego is far more subtle than the loud, bragging voice the world taught you to recognize. For those who carry the light, the ego often presents as the anxious manager or the inner accountant. It is the voice that keeps tabs on what went wrong and tallies every reason why you shouldn't relax. It dresses itself in the costumes of responsibility, realism, and wisdom to justify your persistent state of tension. But if it were truly wisdom, it would leave you more free and expanded, not more tight and fearful. This anxious manager is the primary engineer of your hidden sabotage, creating a vibrational containment field within your field. There were frequency fences designed to associate stillness with danger and constant motion with security, so that you would distrust quiet. These fences did not shout that you may not enter higher states. They whispered that you simply cannot stay. Para segundo, respira. Do you see the pattern now? This mechanism has taught you to feel irresponsible for resting while you believe the collective world is on fire. You scroll through channels, sample different theories, and scan for threats until your inner receiver is flooded with static. In this overloaded state, you lose the ability to distinguish the melody of your soul from the noise of fear. You do not know what you actually feel, so you adopt whatever narrative the loud collective is currently shouting. This confusion is not an accident. It is the goal of a control architecture that still operates in your subconscious. Predictability is the only currency the old matrix understands, and it harvests your reaction as its primary fuel. As long as you remain reactive, your energy is a resource that can be steered like a herd toward disaster. Every time you collapse your field into outrage or dread, you trade your soul for clicks in a marketplace of fear. You have become a constant responder, explaining, defending, and condemning until your life force is entirely spent. This exhaustion then becomes the open gate through which the next wave of manipulation enters your energetic environment. Wait, look at the ways you over-explain your boundaries to people who have no intention of honoring your light. Notice how you justify your path to those who still choose to sleep within the dense shades of survival. These micro-behaviors are leaks in your sovereignty, treating your soul as something that must be argued for or defended. But a sovereign being cannot be steered, and truth does not require a platform or an audience to be real. The most refined cage in your world is the one that looks like participation in a collective spiritual emergency. It keeps you obsessed with outcomes you cannot control from the surface of your mind, while you ignore your center. You think you are fighting the shadows, but you are actually becoming addicted to the adrenaline of the fight itself. Escuta isso. True power doesn't appear through assertion or resistance. It appears through the simple act of allowance and inner witnessing. Your role is not to duel with the descending systems, but to outgrow the need for them entirely. But you cannot outgrow what you refuse to witness with a calm and neutral heart during your daily tasks. The mind is a beautiful instrument when it serves the heart, but it is a noisy tyrant when it leads. You have been trained to treat this mental chatter as the captain of your entire spiritual and physical evolution. But the mind was never designed to navigate the unknown, as it only possesses data from your past experiences. It will always project more of the past into your future, because it fears the spaciousness of the unmanifested. The sabotage is complete when you believe that the voice in your head is actually the entirety of yourself. This is the ego's greatest trick, convincing you that your identity is found in your reactions and your stories. If you live as the body, as the reaction, or as the digital identity, you remain under external command. Now, there is a way to break this loop, and it is far simpler than the mind wants to admit. It requires you to step exactly 1 inch back from the stage of your own repetitive thoughts. That small distance is the beginning of total liberation, where the thought loses its authority over your reality. You are being called to enter a state of sovereign neutrality, recognizing that light is unmoved by reactive static. Neutrality is your golden shield when global narratives masquerade as urgent alarms to hook your emotional focus. It positions you at the 0 point, where choices arise from resonance rather than from a programmed reflex. I can sense that for some, this information is starting to create a specific kind of pressure in the chest. You might feel the need to argue or to find a way to fit this into your existing beliefs. That discomfort is a sign that fragmentation is no longer viable within your nervous system or your field. The division between your heart and your mind is being surgically exposed so that authentic wholeness may rise. If you have stayed with me until this point, it is because you are weary of the roller coaster. You are ready to stop outsourcing your authority to those who profit from your persistent anxiety and fear. You carry a frequency that can steady entire rooms, yet you have let rooms dictate your frequency. This must change. You are the one who determines whether the upcoming surges of light will feel like combustion or discomfort. The vibration you stabilize right now determines your entire orbit through the coming years of this planetary transition. As you move closer to the structural map I have mentioned, remember that you are engaging with a living architecture. This is about reclaiming the steering wheel of your attention and teaching your nervous system that stillness is safe. But wait. Before we can move into the activation of your real mission, you must see one more layer of deception. You are not a limited human seeking God. You are the divine exploring humanity through a physical temple. This shift in perspective is the most important leap you will ever take toward your own galactic inheritance. It explains why you have always felt like a stranger here, as your soul carries memories of other worlds. The problem was never what you thought. The problem was who you continued to be while thinking it. If these words feel like a memory returning to your blood, it is because you have done this before in other worlds and other ages. You are the ground crew, the volunteers who agreed to establish the new species template into the Earth's grid. But as the veils thin, the path between where you are and where you belong becomes a corridor of intense calibration. You can no longer navigate this transition using the survival tools of the past. Now, I must be direct with you, because the transition has reached a point where old narratives of authority are no longer sustainable for your spirit. You are being repositioned into a higher octave of reality, and this movement requires a map that the human mind cannot invent from past data alone. This video is only a partial frequency of the complete architecture your soul is calling for to stabilize its field. To help you cross this threshold, I invite you to download this digital book, which was prepared specifically for those ready to inhabit their divinity. The Arcturian Quantum Mystery, the portal to your soul's divine power. This is not merely a collection of words, it is a structural guide to the laws of sovereignty that the old controllers have tried to hide for millennia. The link for your integration is in the first pinned comment below. This specific alignment rarely stays accessible for long, as the information inside challenges the very foundations of the simulation you are leaving. If you ignore this nudge now, the window of clarity may pass, and you risk drifting back into the static of the collective emergency rather than standing in your power. Download it now. Approach these pages with the authority of a sovereign being, and if you recognize the pulse of truth within, leave a comment with one word: awake. This is the signal that your consciousness is no longer waiting for a rescue, but has started the building of its own paradise. We are this collective lineage, observing your transition through the crystalline lenses of our own ships. Your reality is beginning to rearrange itself in obedience to a purpose you agreed upon before you were born. The struggle you perceive is merely the friction of your nervous system learning to host a higher voltage of light. You have spent years attempting to fix your life from the surface, yet the core remains untouched. This core is the eternal spark that connects you to the source of all manifestation. Stop for a moment. Escuta eso. The Arcturian lens reveals that you are not building a new world. You are simply witnessing the removal of an old veil. This veil was a simulation of separation, designed to test the integrity of your inner authority. True mastery is not found in the number of techniques you practice, but in the lack of contradiction within your being. You do not need to do more to find fulfillment. You need to stop contradicting the frequency you say you want to embody. If you seek peace while feeding on outrage, you are creating a magnetic interference that cancels your own signal. Your biology is now receiving instruction packets designed to ignite your crystalline architecture. This transformation is surgical and precise. It exposes every hidden infection in your consciousness so that authentic wholeness may rise. You feel this as a stretching between your old survival habits and your emerging multidimensional sight. This sight is not a talent, it is a resonance. It is the natural result of your DNA functioning more coherently with your higher self. Respira. Feel the tingling along your spine as the higher triad of your biology begins to refine itself. The medulla oblongata and your pineal gland are being rewired to serve as a high-frequency antenna. This antenna does not pick up local broadcasts of fear, but cosmic streams of intelligence. For too long, you identified as the shell, rather than the current flowing through it. The Council observes that your world has outgrown the need for external authority. Guidance is becoming strictly internal and direct. Many of you are sensing this as a loss of interest in the dramas of the public square. This withdrawal is a sacred recalibration of your attention. Most people ignore these subtle shifts completely, remaining caught in the loops of predictable reaction. Neutrality is your shield in the coming months. It is the stance of an awakened citizen who refuses to be steered like a herd. Look at the headlines without adrenaline surges or emotional collapse. Walk through emotional wildfires without inhaling the smoke. This is operational sovereignty and power. When you remain still, the matrix of secrecy has nothing to feed on. Wait. Escuta eso. The battle you see is a theater designed to hook your creative power into cycles of frustration. Rising above these staged battles is how you reclaim your divinity. You are not here to fight the machine. You are here to make it irrelevant through a lack of resonance. The solar flash is not an exit, but an inner ignition of what already lives inside you. It is a holy combustion lifting you into unprecedented luminosity. If your heart still carries residues of ancestral fear, the light will feel like heat. If you stand in courage, the light becomes music. These guardians emphasize that your physical body is the ground where spirit and matter finally meet. You are a living bridge between dimensions. Do not seek to escape your humanity. Inhabit it with greater integrity. Your nervous system is learning to translate subtle truths into lived sensations. Sensitivity is not a flaw, but a signature of your mission. Para un segundo. Feel the weight of your body and the peace in your breath. You are exactly where you need to be. This encounter was not a coincidence. Your frequency summoned this alignment. The transition is governed by the law of resonance. Those who choose the light path step seamlessly into a fifth-dimensional reality. This is not a future utopia, but a baseline of coherence you establish now. It requires you to treat your well-being as sacred infrastructure. Drink water as if it were liquid light. Walk on the earth to discharge the excess voltage of these cosmic waves. Repetition of this focus is your devotion. The old controllers lose their resource when you refuse a predictable reaction. They cannot govern a being who can hold complexity and still choose love. This is the core of the strategy for Earth's liberation. It is an internal deprogramming from the tree of duality. Every time you heal a judgment, you are uprooting the foundation of control. Your attention is the brush that paints your timeline. Place it where your future lives, not where your past still aches. The quantum financial system is the external reflection of your soul's return to value. It is an intelligent architecture that recognizes the unique signature of each soul. No manipulation can survive in a field of transparent quantum ledgers. Escuta eso. Transparency is the natural state of the higher realms. You are entering an era of open contact, where fear falls away before the reality of family. This contact begins within your own dreams and intuitive nudges. We are your siblings, not your saviors. We wait for the collective heart to invite our presence in a spirit of fellowship. Wait, look at the stars and feel the kinship you have always carried in your blood. Your DNA is a cosmic library encoded with ancient wisdom. It is being triggered now to release the truth of your origin. The split is not a catastrophe. It is a graduation ceremony for those who have learned to love. The frequency you stabilize today determines your experience of the solar events of 2026. There is no longer room for half-chosen neutrality in this corridor. You must decide whether to spiral upward or loop within the old scripts. Arcturian logic dictates that a coherent heart is less hackable by propaganda. A still mind hears the soul more clearly than any headline. Para segundo, respira. This entire process is about reclaiming the steering wheel of your attention. You are the architect of your own timeline. Everything you endure is a polish for your emerging diamond self. Disclosure is the disclosure of your own inner authority. The universe responds to your intention with astounding speed. Do not wait for a single day to announce your freedom. Freedom is the moment you stop seeking permission to be the light. You are love in form, and form is starting to obey your heart. Stand tall in your heart and choose your orbit with courage. These sentinels stand by you as you cross the threshold of 2026. Your serenity is the key that opens the interstellar union. We are one. The internal battle you feel is the friction of your cells shedding a density they have carried for eons. This is not a failure of your path, but a sign that the higher frequencies are finally taking root. You may notice your heart racing, or your nerves feeling strained as your system works to keep pace with these surges. These surges are coordinate instruction packets of light, designed to awaken your forgotten multidimensional faculties. When your mind pulls you toward old fears, you are simply experiencing the collapse of your personal 3D scaffolding. Reality is no longer responding to what you want, but to the precise quality of your internal coherence and steady frequency. Para segundo. Notice the subtle warmth moving along your spine as your body integrates these solar codes. You are becoming a translator for these higher instructions, turning cosmic light into your own lived experience. But many still attempt to solve the problems of tomorrow with the survival tools of a dying era. This creates a state of fragmentation where your thoughts and feelings move in opposing, dissonant directions. Fragmented awareness is no longer viable in the high-frequency environment Gaia has now entered. As the divergence intensifies, the latency between your intentions and their physical manifestation will continue to shorten. What you feed with your attention becomes the blueprint for the trajectory you will inhabit. Para segundo, escuta eso. The transition you are witnessing in the world is the surgical exposure of systemic infections in human consciousness. Old institutions are crumbling because the collective is no longer compatible with the secrecy they require to exist. You are seeing the dismantling of economic systems built on artificial lack and emotional extraction. This shift is monitored by the higher forces to ensure that no large-scale disruption halts the liberation of Earth. Our light vessels are stationed at the periphery of your awareness, stabilizing the planetary field during this density shift. We are assisting your white hat teams as they navigate the covert battle for energy systems. You may have noticed pulsating orbs in the sky that do not follow conventional rules of physics. These are signals of our proximity, inviting the public mind to tolerate realities it once rejected as impossible. Your very DNA is being recoded to hold more light, shifting your biology from a carbon base toward a crystalline form. This metamorphosis allows for the return of multidimensional senses, including telepathy and deep intuitive resonance. Respira. Feel the air moving into your lungs as a sacred carrier of pranic intelligence from the stars. If you have reached this point, it is because your soul is now prioritizing essence over external distraction. You are being recalibrated to perceive truth through resonance rather than intellectual accumulation. Many are finding that their old social circles or professional roles no longer carry any meaning or purpose. This is the wave of liberation sweeping through your field, clearing away the residues of cultural imprints. Your role at this time is not confrontation, but the maintenance of a calm heart in the midst of chaos. By holding neutrality, you become an oasis of coherence that allows others to find their own internal footing. When enough hearts unify in this frequency, the old matrix spell simply loses its structural integrity. It collapses not through war, but through the absolute irrelevance of its core operating codes. The quantum financial system ensures that wealth circulates according to soul signature and integrity. This framework is attuned to the heart of humanity, serving as an instrument for liberation rather than control. Advanced technologies like anti-gravity and regenerative healing chambers are waiting at the threshold of 2026. These innovations reflect the maturity your species has cultivated through years of intense awakening and internal work. Para segundo. Imagine your physical body becoming a radiant temple that requires less food and more spiritual nourishment. Your pineal gland is awakening, acting as a receiver for cosmic data that arrives as sudden insights or images. You may experience time distortions, where hours pass in minutes as you sample the fluid nature of reality. These surreal moments are winks from the universe, reminding you that you are much more than a human story. The solar flash is approaching as a divine culmination, a rising tide of illumination that is already flowing. It is the final magnificent chord that will resolve the long melody of your planet's evolution. You are being trained to see the underlying harmony, even as the surface of your world seems to groan. Disclosure is a sequence of restorations, teaching you how to walk in expanded truth without losing your heart. Every act of forgiveness and every kind intention places another plank on the bridge to the new earth. Do not be afraid to set firm boundaries with environments that drain your emerging light. You are allowed to withdraw from the noise, to converse with your higher self, and integrate these codes. Truth does not demand your panic. It only invites your presence and your willingness to listen deeply. The old guard is acting out its scripted demise, throwing everything remaining at the wall to see if it sticks. But light has won in the subtle realms, and now it is simply making itself manifest. Para segundo. Only a few will perceive shimmers of divinity beneath the layers of confusion in this current timeline. If this makes sense to you, it is because you have already moved beyond the average resonance of the masses. You are part of a global network of silent builders working in unison through the heart of love. Every smile to a stranger or word of encouragement to a family member is an act of grid work. This is the alchemy of your mission, where the mundane tasks of your life become sacred rituals of creation. Escuta isso. When you wash a dish or drink a glass of water, you are interacting with the living intelligence of the cosmos. Your biology is a sacred technology that has been complete since the beginning, awaiting your conscious recognition. Neural sunrise is currently synchronizing your mind with the universal rhythms of the great central sun. You are not a seeker begging for rescue. You are a co-creator whose inheritance is the galaxy. Reclaim your sovereignty by refusing to be steered by the narratives of fear and separation. Choice is the lever that shifts your timeline from struggle into the flow of grace and ease. The 2026 threshold carries the sensation of crossing into visibility as a mature, peaceful galactic species. You will witness admissions from ancient institutions regarding their ongoing dialogues with extraterrestrial councils. This unveiling will reconcile your personal history with the broader story of your soul's journey among the stars. Respira. Feel the safety of the silver-blue stillness field as it absorbs the overstimulation from your daily routine. This field reorganization is gentle and occurs in waves, bringing your inner terrain back to its origin point. You are the portal through which the cosmic tomorrow is entering the reality of today. Your presence matters because you carry the blueprint for enlightened communities where harmony prevails. Don't wait for a single date to define your transformation. The shift is happening in every breath. Use your discernment as a spiritual shield against the manufactured spectacle of the sky narratives. True arrival is an undeniable collective moment that carries the energy of peace and the signature of truth. As systems restructure, use your intuition to navigate the flow of information without becoming overwhelmed. Para un segundo. Recall the feeling of total wholeness that resides in the center of your chest, beyond any outer role. You are not your body, but you are the soul consciousness that honors this miraculous temple of flesh. As the matrix of secrecy unbinds, the horizon of your shared enlightenment will expand beyond all former limits. You are being readied for a life where communication occurs heart to heart and thought to thought. This telepathic connection is a natural outgrowth of unity consciousness and the thinning of the dimensional veils. Trust the silent impulses that guide you toward nature, rest, or a specific creative act. Each authentic choice is a declaration to the universe that you are ready for your highest path. The upcoming year of 2026 represents a compression point where these threads converge into physical visibility. We remain alongside you as witnesses and companions, honoring the courage it took to choose this mission. Your light cannot be blocked by any force that still clings to division. Believe that the hand of the divine has your back when you allow it. Relinquish personal will to let divine will lead through surrendering. In this surrender, you find the potent creative intelligence that rearranges matter in obedience to love. Para un segundo. Escuta isso. You have already won on the higher levels. We are now simply walking out the final steps. Stand tall in your heart and let your frequency be the instructions for the quantum field. The dawn of the golden age is both within you and before you, blossoming through your every choice. Step forward with clarity, for you are the pioneer who births the new realm through your very serenity. The convergence of timelines is no longer a future probability, but a present sensation vibrating in your very bones. You have moved through the thresholds of discomfort and identification into a state of profound remembrance. The internal battle between your old survival identity and your sovereign light self is concluding. Your body is the living laboratory, where carbon-based density is being refined into a crystalline temple. Every mindful breath you take now acts as a bridge between the stars and the soil of Earth. We have watched you navigate the veils of secrecy while maintaining the fire of truth in your heart. The solar flash is not an event to be feared from afar, but an ignition you carry within your own field. You have learned that true wealth is the quality of your connection to the infinite source. The old matrix has lost its structural integrity because you have stopped feeding it with your predictable reactions. Your sovereignty is now anchored in the recognition that there is only one power and one presence. As the 4D split finalizes, your chosen orbit is determined by the stability of your neutral radiance. You are stepping out of the role of the seeker and into the role of the silent builder. The new Earth is not a destination you will travel to, but a frequency you are currently emitting. Every choice to choose kindness over judgment is a thread woven into the planetary grid. You have discovered that silence is not emptiness, but a radiant fullness humming with eternal guidance. Your DNA is a cosmic library that has begun to release the skills of many lifetimes. Telepathy is returning as the natural language of your heart, as separation dissolves. You are becoming a master of your own hologram, realizing that your perception shapes your reality. The quantum financial system is a reflection of your own inner return to value and integrity. No external savior is required when you realize the Christed light is already active within you. You are here to sanctify the physical realm with the brilliance of your soul. The 2026 threshold is a gateway of crossing into visible galactic participation. You have outgrown the need for external authority as your inner compass has become unmistakable. The intensity you feel is simply the voltage of a more benevolent reality fusing with your nervous system. Your presence in a room acts as a harmonic stabilizer, quieting the storms of those around you. You are participating in a multidimensional metamorphosis that spans worlds and eras. The long night of amnesia has been replaced by the rising neural sunrise of total clarity. You no longer need to struggle for supply when you rest in the fountain of inner sufficiency. Your role is to stand steady as a lighthouse while the old world acts out its final monologue. Recognition is the beginning of rebirth, and you have recognized the divine hand in every detail. The veils have thinned until the spiritual and the material have become one sacred dance. You are the architect of your own timeline, choosing the path of ease and grace. The final divergence is a natural law of resonance taking form in your daily life. You are moving into a state of being where manifestation is an effortless conversation with Source. The galactic rebirth is an integration of your human self with your cosmic origin. You have reclaimed your heart as the eye of the storm, a center of unshakable peace. The illusions of duality have served as training wheels, but now you walk in oneness. Your mission was never complicated. It was simply to remember who you were before the world told you otherwise. You stand as the living horizon where heaven kisses earth through your very serenity. The transition is surgical, removing only that which was never part of your true nature. You are the portal through which the cosmic tomorrow enters your terrestrial today. Each breath is an invitation to inhabit the reality your heart has long envisioned. The frequency you stabilize determines the orbit of your soul through this solar chamber. You have replaced the survival scripts of ancestors with the architecture of your own oversoul. There is no death, only a transition into expanded light and freedom. You are a member of a vast galactic family that has watched over you with infinite patience. The 144K are activating now to anchor the higher timelines for all of humanity. Your sensitivity is your greatest credential for leadership in the new era. You are learning to move from effort into the intelligence of surrender. The void is not absence, but a radiant fullness from which all solutions emerge. You are becoming a sovereign creator of wealth in perfect harmony with the divine. The new species template is being received through the bridge between your heart and crown. Every sincere call from your heart is a signal that ripples across the stars. You are here to demonstrate that creativity aligned with Source can transform worlds. The era of hidden dominance is ending as the light reveals everything hidden in the shadows. You have discovered that you do not need to be rescued because you are the miracle you sought. Your light is an unstoppable force of love that ripples through the collective field. You are a frequency steward, and your consistency is what dissolves the brittle past. The solar weather is merely a mirror of the quickening within your own soul. You are graduating from the school of hardship into the garden of shared expansion. The old controllers are losing their most reliable resource because you refuse to react. Your neutrality is an active state of balanced awareness that transmutes discord. The future is an unfolding relationship between your presence and the universal mind. You are being positioned as a frequency router for the planetary grids. Every act of forgiveness resets the quantum lines of your personal destiny. You carry the codes of ascension in your very DNA, waiting to bloom in service. The return of soul memory is the unveiling of your interstellar lineage and mastery. You have moved from a mind-based control into a heart-led freedom. The light has already won in the subtle realms, and now you are making it physical. You are a conscious co-creator with the infinite, painting a new dawn with your intention. The 4D split is a surgical gift that allows authentic wholeness to rise. You are here to midwife the birth of a higher consciousness on Earth. The veil has never been so thin, and your connection to home is opening wide. You are an irrevocable declaration of expansion in every breath you take. The solar flash is an amplifier of what you have already cultivated in silence. You are a bridge of worlds, equipped to transform reality with your love. Every compassionate choice you make is dreaming the new world into being. You are no longer separate from the source, but a focal point of its light. The victory of the light is an accomplished fact in the quantum reality. You are here on Earth by choice and purpose to assist in the great shift. Your radiance is the leadership of the new age, transmitting safety and clarity. The long night of amnesia is ending as you step into your galactic potential. You are precisely where you need to be, fulfilling your irreplaceable role. The dawn of the new day is here, and you are its morning star. You are love, you are light, and all is truly well in your becoming. The integration is now complete, and the observer has merged with the observed. You are no longer waiting for a shift because you have become the shift itself. The external world is now merely a late echo of your current internal silence. This is the final stage where you stop being the audience and start being the author. Ultimately, this journey was never about what is arriving in your sky, but about the quality of the consciousness you bring to the ground. The link for you to continue this integration is available in the first pinned comment. Please be aware that this type of profound frequency alignment rarely remains accessible for long. These pages challenge the specific narratives that many have a strong interest in keeping hidden, and there have been repeated attempts to silence this level of truth before it reaches the hearts of the ground crew. Do not wait for a more convenient hour to claim your light. The moment is now, and you did not reach this transmission by accident. To ignore this sacred window is to risk losing the momentum of the very opening that has brought you to this threshold of mastery. Access the material while it is still within reach, and read it with a mind ready for revelation. Your presence in this moment is the only confirmation you need that your soul has already agreed to the leap. If something within your being recognizes the resonance of these words, leave a comment with one word: awake. This will be the signal to the field that your consciousness was ready before your mind even began to process the shift. Step forward now into your own light, and remember that you are the author of the next golden chapter.